Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolf Pit. Beef chuck roast or shoulder roast is one of the most flavorful, universal, and fairly inexpensive cuts of beef there is. And it's actually my favorite cut of beef to cook and of course eat. Whether I'm making a melt-in-your-mouth smoked pot roast with root vegetables and smoky gravy, or burnt ends, yes, faux brisket burnt ends, for less cost, less waste, and equally deliciousness. Or the ever-popular and soon-to-be world-famous Wolf Pit signature pepper stout beef, which is a chuck roast that is first slow-smoked and then braised in Guinness stout with an assortment of peppers, onions, garlic, and Worcestershire until moist and tender spicy perfection. But one of the simplest and still one of my favorite ways to cook and eat a chuck roast is to slow smoke it and make pulled beef barbecue, which is what I'm going to do today. If you like pulled pork barbecue, you're going to love pulled beef barbecue. The best thing about pulled beef barbecue is, if there's any leftovers, they're extremely universal and can be used for all sorts of dishes. Here I have a 4.5 pound boneless chuck roast that I'm going to very generously season with Wolfe Bold barbecue seasoning. There's different cuts of chuck roast and there's different names and any will work, bone-in or boneless. Other common names that are labeled in stores are chuck blade roast, top blade roast, under blade roast, 7-bone chuck roast, shoulder roast, chuck pot roast, shoulder pot roast, and there's a lot more names. The main thing you want to look for, as you would with any meat you're going to be cooking for a long time or braising, is marbling and external fat. Fat equals moisture and flavor. Once a chuck roast is very generously coated with your favorite rub, or in my case, Wolfe Bold, I like to put it back in the refrigerator for at least an hour. This is something that I think I forgot to mention in my previous pulled pork video, that I always like to put my meat on the smoker cold. That's just my personal preference. You can put it on there at room temperature if you like, either way will work. I'm using my mini Weber Smoky Mountain again, and I'm lighting it the same way since my new hose torch hasn't come in the snail mail yet. Hopefully it'll be here by the next cook, and I can show you another way I like to light the coals. So for this method, you simply place 4 partially lit coals in the center of the full charcoal ring. Then add your choice of smoke wood. I'm using cherry wood again, which I really like. Then add the WSM's midsection with all 3 bottom vents 100% open. Add your meat. Insert your meat probe into the thickest part of the meat. Honestly, thermometers with chuck roast are 100% useless. I'm just using it on this cook because it was connected to the transmitter along with the pit probe. So I figured why not just shove it into the meat. Sure, I could have unplugged it and taken it inside, but then I wouldn't be living up to my reputation of being lazy. Chuck roast are the most stubborn cuts of meat you'll ever cook, and I've had them cook up to 215 degrees internal temperature and they're still not tender. So I simply don't temp them anymore. You can tell a chuck roast is done when you can insert a fork into the thickest part and you can twirl the fork like you're twirling spaghetti. Now put the lid on, add the thermometer wherever you like to monitor your temperature. In my case, it's a top vent, which will remain open 100% for the entire cook. Now leave all 3 bottom vents open 100% until the lid temperature reaches 150 degrees. Once it reaches 150 degrees, shut down all 3 bottom vents 75% and then don't touch them again. Just go away and do something for a few hours. Just do not open the lid and do not touch the vents, and the WSM will settle in between 250 and 275 degrees and it'll stay there for hours if you leave it alone. After 6 hours, our chuck roast had the color and bark I wanted, and damn it, it smelled good. Now chuck roast must be braised or foiled in order to get tender and stay moist. So at this point, I'm going to double wrap in heavy duty aluminum foil. Then it goes back onto the smoker, or to be perfectly honest, at this point, you could put it in the oven. Because with it being foiled, there's no benefit to it going back on the smoker. But I still had plenty of charcoal and a cooler full of beer, so I was staying outside, so it went back onto the smoker to finish. Also at this point, if you're running short on time, you can increase your temperatures up to 300 to 325 degrees if you like. But I'm going to continue in the 250 to 275 degree range. After braising for 4 hours in the foil and cooking for a total of 10 hours, our chuck roast is tender. Keyword, tender. So let it rest at least an hour, 2 to 3 hours is better. After resting, open up the foil and let it rest a few minutes before pulling. And even after resting on the counter for 2 hours, it's still piping hot and too hot to touch. Now, using your hands, bear claws, or just 2 forks like I'm using, start pulling the meat apart. As you can see, even with my goofy, clumsy hands, it's like butter. And I really wish I could share the aroma with you guys. Once all the beef is pulled to your liking, I like to add more rub. You can add more rub, your favorite barbecue sauce, or both. Season it however you like to season your barbecue, because it's your barbecue and you're going to be eating it, so season it how you like it. Then give it a good mix and then it's ready to serve. Well, to be perfectly honest, I was serving myself quality test samples the whole time I was pulling it. That's the nice benefit of being in charge of pulling your meat. Did I just say I was pulling my meat? Now serve it on your favorite bun, bread, or just in a big old pile with your favorite homemade from scratch, store-bought sides. I'm so embarrassed, but yes, it's a can of Bush's beans and store-bought potato salad. I'm human and lazy. This pulled beef barbecue turned out absolutely amazing. Moist, tender, smoky, a little bit spicy, and delicious. And once again, the mini WSM performed flawlessly. If you'd like to help support the Wolfe Pit, please consider being a patron. You can pledge as little as $1 a month. That's only $12 for the whole year. Or you can pledge more. That's up to you. Either way, every little bit's appreciated and helps me produce more high-quality videos more often for you, the people. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.